Hello and welcome to the show. We are here today on Forza Horizon 3 with a challenge. I do fear that the weather is about to get a whole lot worse. We shall see how this pans out. We're going to be doing some Trailblazer racing. Now these cars kind of vaguely, I say very vaguely, based on the Trailblazer category from the Dirt games. Kind of crazy, ridiculous, high-powered off-road racing. It tends to be fairly fast off-road racing. We've come to Blizzard Mountain with S2 class rear-wheel drive vehicles. Quite a mixture going on here. The RS200, perhaps the only vaguely suitable car in the fields. Yeah, we're going to do a knockout tournament. It is the heats. We've got 4 cars. The top 2 will go through to a semi-final. The bottom 2 will go into the spanner final, as we call it, a 6-car melee, in which the top 2 from that will then also be included into the semi-finals. Our first round, we have got a Lola race car, a big Mercedes saloon car, the RS200, and an ACR Viper. Yeah. This is what happens when we are very, very kind of loose with the car category. Yeah, aside from rear-wheel drive and S2, there is pretty much no restrictions on these vehicles. It is the Lola off to an absolutely fantastic lead as the Viper fights with the Ford. The Mercedes going, exploring. There's a horrible ice patch on the outside of that corner. The Viper trying to go around the outside of an RS200. Not likely to work, that one. It is the Lola actually streaming away at the front as we come into, you may remember this section as the Kimmies. The Lola going for the inside line. The Ford choosing not to. Got to be careful though when you go off this tarmac road here. You don't have much grip out there, so it's often better just to stick onto this tarmac road. Lola doing a fantastic job at the front. Ford tries to dive through this banked corner, not actually able to catch up with that race car. We are quickly tearing away, I think, from the Viper. We'll spin the drone around to try and see. There's the Viper, but not too far back. Mercedes, as you might expect, struggling a little bit in this field. Viper very, very sideways through there, up ahead, and still it is the Lola that is leading the way. We're going to try and catch up. These cars are very quick. These cars are very quick indeed, and a little bit difficult to follow with the drone in some places. Yeah, the Lola leading the way from the Ford. Well, we thought the Lola might get a good start. I'm surprised to see it still leading as we head towards the final section. It is quite twisty. It's relatively open, relatively fast to begin with. It does narrow up towards the end. Maybe the Ford will come good through here. I'm not sure the off-road route is working for you there. I don't know whether the Ford's got a little bit lost and taken out a speed camera. And there is a Galant on the course. Now we've got to get it slowed down for this kind of nastiest corner on the track. Very easy to overshoot that one and go tumbling off the road. The Lola is going to pop out. Oh, there it is. It's a little bit quicker than I was expecting to. Oh, Lola's run very, very wide. The Ford's got a good run out of that final corner. The Lola's got the acceleration. Lola will cross the line ahead of the RS200. Somewhere back there, there will be the Viper in third place. It's not all over for the ACR. It can still come through the spanner final. Likewise, somewhere there's a Mercedes. I don't know where it's gone. It might have got lost. Oh, is that looks like a Mercedes to me. That looks like a Mercedes to me. Nope, the Mercedes is meant a BMW. Didn't fare well. Didn't fare well for the big saloon car. It might have had enough while we were busy chasing the Lola and the Ford. Yeah, round one. Round one goes to the Lola. That's looking like it might be a bloody fast car. So, on to our next heat. An interesting one, this one. We got a Ferrari FXX K Celine S7, the Nissan R390, and an Aston Martin. The Aston Martin isn't actually in S2, it's a high S1 class. The plan being usable horsepower in that. Whether that is going to be able to outdo, well, the likely crazy horsepower that we've got in the other 3 should be quite interesting to find out. I am expecting the Celine to be fast. I know how quick the S7s can be on Forza. Actually, a great start from the Nissan, all the way stuck on the outside there as they head across the ice patch. The Ferrari, though, is already trying to make up a position. Isn't quite going to get it done. The Aston Martin is holding on for the moment. Celine is streaking away at the front. It's side by side between the Nissan and the Ferrari. Who has got the straight line speed? It is going to be the Nissan, although the Nissan gets the big ice patch through the Kimmies, gets away with it, is now making a very wide Nissan for that Ferrari. You don't want to hit that sign, guys. That sign's horrible. I've already managed to spin my car off it in practice. It's, yeah, not a huge amount of fun. Into the banked corner we go. No one really making the most of the banking whatsoever there. Aston Martin not falling too far back at the moment. The Nissan, is he going to be brave? Oh, the Ferrari was had a little bit of a breakthrough there. I was expecting that to be a flat-out section. This corner definitely not a flat-out section. Big slide from that Nissan there. Celine streaking away at the front. Does the Ferrari have any answer for the S7 as we come into these closing stages? Looks like the Nissan hasn't quite got the speed here. Does look like the Nissan is a little bit too far back. The S7 with a well, slightly more comfortable margin than the Lola had last time out, although anything can happen and can go wrong in these latter stages. All it takes is a small out-break-yourself moment, especially in towards this next corner, to cost you a large amount of time and very much cost you the race. Down here the cars are so fast I'm actually having trouble keeping up with them in the drone. Thankfully we go into a nice tight corner. Ferrari came from a long way back, was a little bit braver into that braking zone than the S7, but it does look like, unless the Celine makes a big mistake, I think the Ferrari is closing up slightly now. But, don't end up in the front of the Ute. That would not be ideal. It's going to be the Celine from the Ferrari. The Nissan got lost. I imagine probably had an off somewhere because the Nissan, there it is. The Nissan is very sideways around, and bumped into the barrier. Very sideways around that final corner. There's the Aston Martin. Going for controllable power. Not quite worked for the for the Vantage. The Nissan, I think, might have had an off in the latter stages there. Again, very, very close between first and second. Ferrari was gaining, I think, perhaps a bit braver at the end there, trying to make up the time. Oh, Transit's been involved. Well, we have an interesting semi-final shaping up so far. Well, it is time for our third heat. My radical, I've gone for downforce. I've gone for lightness and downforce with my car is up against the GTA Spanner, the Ferrari F40, and a McLaren 570. Don't mind the Viper doing its best mountain goat impression. I don't know how it got there. It's one of the many mysteries of the Forza world. We shall wait for the horn. It'll come at any point from our starter. I think my radical stands a good chance in this round. It is a pretty good car for this rear-wheel drive snowmalarkey. Oh, it was very, very even into this first corner. So even, in fact, the Spanner got the worst of it. Oh, we've had two spins. And I've got caught up on the ice, which is not really what we want. It was a very even start, so much so that all four of us were going into that first corner. Oh, I've got an exploring myself. All four of us were going in side by side, and that didn't quite fit so well. Everybody went for a spin. Of course, it would be in my final that we have everybody going a little bit exploring. We are not going to go and take out that signpost. Right, let's just focus on, I guess, just kind of speed on my own at the moment. We haven't actually got to worry about, about anything. That doesn't mean go and make a mistake. As, well, we have probably got the biggest lead of the lot. I don't need to go and make a mistake and have to fight my way through the Spanner final, because that's always asking for trouble here. I do like this radical. It is as stupidly inappropriate as this is for this kind of racing. It is a lot of fun. There is a surprising amount of grip in this car to throw it through the corners. Yeah, you'll get big slides if you try to get on the power a little bit too soon. But it is, really, really surprisingly manageable. An awful lot of fun. I say we're not going to play it too risky, as I managed to outbreak myself a little bit. I'm glad I wasn't playing it too risky, otherwise we could have been into the scenery quite a lot down there. Stick to the tarmac, get all the speed that we can, mind the car. We're going to go on the brakes a little bit early. That's actually probably about right into this corner. Again, no need to try and push too hard, no need to risk throwing it all away through there, as we have got that little bit of a gap around the final corner. That is a very, very tight corner indeed. Run towards the line, minding the BMW. Oh, there's a lot of traffic around here. We're through. The Radical wins the heat, although admittedly it was a relatively big kerfuffle at the start. McLaren coming home in second place. Yeah, it was... I got out of the trouble in that one. Managed to avoid it. The Spanner is... hello. Spanner is through in third ahead of the F40. Yeah, big start line kerfuffle. Well, the GTA and the Ferrari will have a chance in the Spanner final. Me and the McLaren are through, guaranteed, to the next round. So, it is on to the Spanner final. We have got the Ferrari F40, Nissan R390, Aston Martin V8 Vantage, the ACR Viper, the Spanner, and the Mercedes Saloon. I am predicting, my early predictions, I think the Nissan can make it through it. It put up a good fight with that Ferrari. I think it was a little bit unlucky with a tough heat. The rest of the cars, I'm not sure how quick the Spanner or the F40 are. They had very, very poor starts. The ACR Viper, you would also expect to be relatively good. Perhaps a big kerfuffle in the Aston Martin or Mercedes could sneak through. They wanted to brave it 6 wide. I didn't necessarily recommend 6 wide, however, that's what they wanted to do. The F40 off to a better start this time. Not going around in a circle as we all managed to avoid the ice. Nissan going to fire himself up the inside. Good pass from the Nissan. Left the door wide open for that Spanner to fight back. The Viper is having Viper got dive bombed by an Aston Martin. Not quite sure where the Spanner's gone. The Spanner's got lost on a racetrack. The James May Award goes to that one. It's actually getting fought with by that Aston Martin. The Viper though would get a move done on the Aston. The Viper actually now looking at the back of the Spanner, having the GTA having ploughed through the very, very tough side. Nissan leading the way. The Ferrari F40 doing a very, very good job here up in second place, keeping pressure on that Nissan. The GTA still holding on to the third place. Aston Martin keeping up with this group. Good driving from the Aston, keeping himself in contention here. The Mercedes has vanished again. Well, I'm afraid the Mercedes just not a good enough choice for this this sort of race. Just not fast enough overall. What are we going to have come around the corner first? Nissan very sideways, Ferrari quite sideways. Spanner keeping the pressure on that Ferrari, looking for a possibility to qualify, and it is the Spanner up the inside. He's overdone it though. Both ending up out wide. F40 going to go for a cutback. The Viper now close in contention. The Nissan is, well, it's good news for that Nissan, able to pull a little bit of a lead as the cars behind fight there. F40 struggling for straight line speed. The Viper's not going to stop. Neither is the Ferrari. They're both across the banking. They make it back onto the track, but it's going to be too late, I think, unless there is a mistake into this final corner. The Spanner thinking about going up the inside. Oh, Nissan almost getting in trouble with the BMW. Who has the best traction? Who has the best acceleration? It's going to be the Nissan, but only just. There is the Viper ahead of the F40 and Aston Martin. A very, very terrified BMW. That was a brilliant Spanner final. Oh, somewhere there's a Mercedes. Mercedes! Where are you? There it is! The Mercedes doesn't work here. Mercedes does not work. Didn't even manage to roll across the line. Well, that will be the GTA Spanner and the Nissan into the semi-finals. The Viper, the Ferrari F40 put up a hell of a fight, just couldn't quite hold on in the end. The Viper also came strong towards the end, but they couldn't quite do it. They could not quite do it. That was a hell of a race, though. I think probably of all of these tournaments we've done, that's probably one of the best races we've had. So, it is on to the first of our semi-finals. A Ford, a Nissan, a McLaren and a Celine line up on the start line. We've actually got a really good variety of manufacturers in this one. I'm thinking the S7 is probably going to... If I was a betting man, it would be on the S7. I know how fast that car is. Second place, though, I think it's going to be close for, well, everyone. Pretty much in this. It is too tight to call, I reckon. It is a good jump from the Celine, good jump from the Ford. The Ford, though, stuck on that outside line. McLaren eating a few signposts. The Nissan trying to go around the outside. Looks like he might get it done as well. Great move from the Nissan, if he can pull it up in time, which he just about does, although he's going to run wide on the exit. Here comes the Ford for second place. All the meanwhile, that S7 is busy running away at the front. McLaren down in fourth. Good move from the Ford there, although he's on the ice patch. The Kibbies have almost claimed another victim. Will get away with that one, but it's not a quicker line to take down there. You don't really want to be going down there. McLaren coming back into the fray here. Big slide from the McLaren. He's going to go up the inside into the banked corner, but you take such a tight line there that it's very, very difficult to maintain your speed. Celine running away a little bit at the front now, though not getting too far away from that Ford. Everyone breaking down into this next corner. Can anybody do anything about the RS200? There's a little bit of a bump between fourth and third there, with the McLaren looking for away pass. Yeah, the Celine has got not the biggest lead that he has enjoyed in the session, but it is still a relative comfort margin. Oh, McLaren got the pass, and I was busy going for some cinematic shots, and we missed the McLaren getting past the Nissan. I do apologise for my drone work. Oh, Nissan's fighting back on the inside. The more they fight, though, the more opportunity that gives to the RS200 here to pull away ahead of them. The Ford, perhaps the weakest car in terms of outright straight line speed, and that is needed down this section, but then there is a big stop. It's a huge dive from the Spanner. That is never getting stopped into the corner. He had a go at it, but it almost rolled. It wasn't going to work. Not the Spanner, sorry, the McLaren. It wasn't going to work there. The Ford is going to hold on to that second place, provided he doesn't run wide. The Nissan's run wide. The McLaren's run even wider as they're all following the leader through that section. Celine will take victory. It was a big dive from the McLaren that just did not quite come off. The RS200 there claiming second place. Another very, very close race between, well, three very different cars. Celine a little bit out in a class of its own, but was not having to worry about battling with anybody. So, two cars are through to the final. The McLaren and Nissan will go out. Question is, who shall join them? So, for the remaining two places in the final, it is between the GTA, the Lola, Ferrari FXXK, and my Radical. I think I might have the Spanner. I think I can get down the course quicker than the Spanner, Lola, and Ferrari. Don't know. Really don't know. I'm very concerned about that Lola. That was mighty impressive in its opening race. The FXXK is a little bit of an unknown quantity as well. I think the Radical is good. I think it stands a chance. Whether it's going to be enough, though, I don't know. Can't afford to make any mistakes now at this stage. Any second now, there will be the horn to signify the start of the race, and we are underway. Great start by the Lola once more. Quite sideways from my Radical through there. The Ferrari is already fighting the Lola. Big slide across the ice patch for that classic race car. The T70 out very, very wide indeed. Ferrari, though, wide through the next corner. Here comes the Radical. We're going to move up into second place, in towards the Kimmies. We go. Ferrari is on the ice. I'm not going to play it that risky this time around. Now, use the downforce. Don't fight with the sign, because that's going to get you in a world of trouble. Ferrari got a little bit of a better run down here. Thanks to my preferred camera view. Yeah, Ferrari runs very, very deep into the inside of that corner. I don't want to go down there. I'm going to make the most of the banking as and where we can. So I've got the speed through some of these corners. It's just trying to find a way past. Got to be wary of that Lola. Oh, the big slide from the Radical. The Lola's got humongous rear tyres, which gives it fantastic traction that a car like this Radical just doesn't have. The Lola's also, I think, lighter than the Radical. Certainly, you know, getting down to the Radical in terms of power to weight ratio. The Ferrari, I was close. I just made a little mistake that cost me some time. Onto the brakes we go. The Ferrari running a little bit wide. I don't think I have the straight line speed of the FXXK or the Celine for that matter, but I might be a tad better through the corners. I might be able to be, you know, that little bit braver, brake that little bit later into some of these than, yeah, you see the Ferrari's in all sorts of trouble coming into this tight section. I think I did see a little bit of a Viper monument going on through there. Up towards the kind of the final corner, sort of the kink down towards the finish line. See, I can carry so much more speed there. We're going to get the Ferrari. Yes, he didn't get a good exit. Woohoo! We've won our semi-final. We beat the FXXK. The Lola's going to come home in third ahead of the Spanner, wherever that might be. Oh, that Ferrari has got ferocious speed through that mid-sector, but when it gets twisty, that's where the Radical shines. At some point, there's a Spanner. I don't quite know where said Spanner is. Might have gone for a tumble. I imagine probably has gone for a tumble. Oh, that was a good race. That was all won on that kind of penultimate corner. Ferrari just couldn't get stopped, couldn't get turned, and we would get... There's the Spanner across the line. We would claim a victory. Well, this is going to make one hell of an interesting final. So the light is beginning to fade here at Blizzard Mountain, and we have got our four finalists. The Celine S7, Ferrari FXXK, my Radical RXC, and a rear-wheel drive Ford RS200. We've also got a Ferrari F40 Mercedes Monument going on at the start line. Don't mind them. I am, yeah, nervous of the Celine. I've proved we can beat the Ferrari. but all of my speed comes in that final sector. It all comes in the final part, and I've got to be close enough. So no making mistakes early on, and we might be okay. I don't know about the speed of the Ford here. It's a great start by the Celine. He has launched himself into an early lead. Got to be careful across the ice. The Ferrari does get into a little bit of bother down there. Now, the RS200 is the only car here that's really wanting to experiment going off the road, because it's probably the only car that can get away with it. The rest of us are going to lose heaps of time. Oh, I'm going to be on the outside for the Kimmy's, not where I want to be. The RS200 is on the ice, came slithering past. But, yeah, that's bravely done. There's not really much speed to be gained from kind of diving across the inside of the corners, because you hit the deep snow and that just slows you down. So yeah, I'm certainly not going to be doing it with the Radical. Unfortunately, my tangling with the Ford, I think, might have cost me any chance at getting towards the front of this race. Unless the Ferrari and Celine can start fighting each other, not sure what I could really do. It hasn't been a great start. There's all of the spray coming off the cars. We're going to have a big dive up the inside of the Ford. Will put me up into third place. Now, Ferrari, Celine, battle yourself into attrition through the next couple of corners. That is the only chance which I have got. That's not going to help matters. A little bit of assistance from the Ford trying to hurry me up through the corners. Am I going to be able to do anything? I think it's just too far back. We will be quick into the next couple of corners, potentially, if we don't make any mistakes. Oh, the FXXK has launched itself through the air, has got away with it. Oh, he went for it. The Ferrari absolutely went for it. Up the inside of the AI car, couldn't get turned, couldn't get stopped. Fired himself across the inside. Victory is going to go to the Celine. My Radical is going to take second ahead of the Ford in third, and the Ferrari in a spectacular fourth. Well, much like we saw with the McLaren that had a big old dive up the inside, it was just asking too much of the car. That was a hell of a way to go. I mean, amazingly, he landed it and got it pointing back in the right direction to carry on. So well done to that. Victory, though, would go to that Celine. If I hadn't had such a bad start, I think I could have really put the fight to it. We just got too caught up with the Ford, because I'm so fast in those later sectors, but we just lose too much time early on. I don't have the straight line speed of that Celine. Yeah, just too much work for me to do in the end. Good fun, though. Very, very good fun indeed, this one. I highly recommend to take some massively overpowered rear-wheel drive S2 cars and go racing down a snowy mountain. Get some very, very interesting racing, as now we've got the Spinny Brigade going on. And no, the Viper didn't come third. You can't, fourth, sorry. You can't sneak into the lineup. That doesn't mean you're in the final. However, yes, if you want a trailblazing rally car, the Celine S7 is the one to go for, though Radical certainly not a bad choice either. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, we shall have some second place celebratory donuts. Goodbye.